So I got this notion that I just find curious. I don't know if I'll be able to articulate this exactly, but it feels like there's a lot of nostalgia in the atmosphere, and that's certainly what I've been experiencing. And what I think of as nostalgia now is a strong connection to what we would consider to be the past, because it's actually all happening right now, right? Everything is happening simultaneously. This notion of past and future is not accurate. Everything is now. But I feel like nostalgia is actually just, we are connecting the experience of present consciousness with the experience of the rest of that consciousness that's in the past a little more intensely. I was remembering a lot about this show that I used to watch, that I watched last when I was pretty young, kid, preteen, that kind of age, and how much I loved it, and just all of those sensations coming back. And it just so happens that the show has a lot to do with nostalgia as well. It's an anime called Fooly Cooly. And just looking back at that self, that kid, that person, that me, and feeling a lot of things, feeling wistful and reflective and grateful, incredibly grateful. And there's a word for this that I can't remember, but there's a word for this feeling that is the desire to communicate with your past self and let them know that everything worked out, to tell them that everything is okay, everything happened for you. Maybe not in the way that you thought that it would, but everything that you wanted, everything that you want, everything that was troubling you at that time, it took care of itself. That everything did in fact work out for you. This desire to communicate with that self that was in the midst of struggle and worry and fear, and say, it's okay. It's all really, really, it's more than okay. It's great. It's amazing. It's amazing, the things that have happened to you. Just wait for it. And then it hit me that that's what's happening to us all the time. And that maybe even in that exact moment, probably specifically in that moment, a future me, the rest of me, the me that is further down the line, that is upstream, is in this moment sending that same communication back to the me that is now. That is my perception of now. And that maybe that's even the source of the nostalgia that I was feeling. Not even so much looking back, but a future me looking at present me and wanting to communicate that everything is so good, that it's even better, that it's all even better, it's all improved, it's all gotten better, it's all everything that I want it to be. Because I know that's happening. That's exactly what's happening. The rest of myself, which is living the future from this perspective, is projecting back to me all of the wonderment and all of the joy and the satisfaction of everything that's happening right there. And saying to me, and I think deliberately, I think maybe this future self has figured out that this is how it works. This is how I communicate with myself, is actually by sending back the truth of what is. And sending to myself this knowledge of well-being, this awareness that everything is exactly as it should be, awareness that's coming from the place of looking around and seeing it, direct experience, not imagined, looking around and actually physically experiencing that yes, everything is perfect, it's great, and it's getting better, it is exactly as it should be. And what does that mean? That means everything is working out for me. It is, in fact, demonstrating to me. I can see, I look out and see everything is working for me, for my highest good, for my joy. That's what's happening. I'm feeling it. I'm experiencing it directly right now. And that future me is looking at me now. Again, my perception of what is now. And beaming this information, this knowledge, this awareness directly to me. And at the same time, I'm doing that for what I'm perceiving as the past self, which is still a present self in some capacity. And it's like the entirety of my timeline is changing. This is so hard to even explain. It just keeps getting better. It just keeps improving. It's when you are perceiving the perfection of your present moment and you're beaming that back to your past self is actually picking that up. And things are shifting way back then. The whole of it is shifting. It's all moving at once. And in the same way as I am receiving, as a future me is beaming the awareness of well-being back, and this awareness from the place of the direct experience of, oh yeah, everything worked out for me. I got it all. I got all the things that I asked for. They're all right here. I'm looking around at them. I'm touching them. I'm kissing them. I'm holding them. All of that is right here. And that self is beaming back to me the experience of that. And I'm receiving that experience and shifting into alignment with it. By integrating into my present moment awareness that has already happened. That's taken place. That the future has already taken place. And pushing that into the past, where the past is the present, and the same thing is happening. The past me is now integrating an awareness from the future me of what has already taken place. It's so fucking trippy, man. But I know it's true. I don't know how I know it's true, but I know it's true. It feels true. It makes sense. It's like, yeah, this is how it works. This is how you communicate with yourself. And so it changes the experience of nostalgia significantly, too. Even in just understanding that, oh, it's not a longing for something that's past. That thing still exists. That childhood, that, whatever, that feeling of being a kid, or the first time experiencing the show, whatever triggered it, that time period still exists. It's not gone. It's right there. And so the feeling of nostalgia is a little different. It's not so bitter. It's a lot more sweet. It's kind of just dipping the toe into that, oh yeah, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? That's still nice. It hasn't gone away. It's still nice. And in fact, it's nicer now, looking back and beaming the awareness of well-being into that time period, and I can actually feel myself existing in that time period and receiving that knowledge of wellness, and that being a part of the creation of that memory, the experience of that moment, and maybe realizing now too that that's what made it so wonderful, that actually at that time I was receiving this transmission from myself now of the well-being of myself and the joy and everything that was waiting for me to experience and discover, and how awesome all of it is. And so in that moment, I felt that peace wash over me. That peace that was this energy that I am experiencing myself sending now to the past. It's a direct link. That I see how it's all directly linked. Myself in the future, present moment, past moment, how it is clearly all one continuous stream, not even overwritten, not even overlapped, continuously existing in detail. And that I can access in any direction the experience of present moment. And I know that that's what fifth dimensional space looks like. That's what a tesseract looks like. A tesseract is the model of a matrix, a mathematical matrix, which is a collection of data points, right? So if you start with a grid that's two-dimensional, and you have data points up and down, and you have data points left and right, and you can move left or right and go up or down, and that's how that works. And then when you add a third dimension, you get back and forth. So now you can go right and forward and up or down or backwards, that kind of thing. And that's spatial data. And then fourth dimensional data includes time, right? A fourth dimensional point is space time, a specific location in space at a specific time. And when we're inside of that level, time becomes the boundary, right? The fourth dimension is the boundary that we believe we can't transcend, but that's what fifth dimensional space is the transcension of that boundary, because it's only ever imagined anyway. And now we can actually traverse time. We can traverse data points, these points of data that we can move freely about, the same way that we're moving through space freely, the same way that my hand can go up, down, left, and right, back and forth freely. In fifth dimensional space, we can move up, down, left, and right, back and forth, forward and backward in time, just as freely. So we can experience any point in time and space, just moving through it, just traversing through it, like we would traverse through this physical world. And we access that through pure consciousness. The physical vessel can't go there because it's three-dimensional. This is beyond that dimension. But our consciousness, being unlimited, multidimensional, omnidimensional, not bounded by anything, is easily able to access that. Of course, the brain can't comprehend it because it's a three-dimensional construct as well. But consciousness, awareness, can feel it. And I can feel myself moving through time. Anyway. There's no point to this other than I find this interesting. And I am intrigued by this notion that what I am experiencing in this exact moment, and as I was looking back to the past and beaming this knowledge of well-being to my past self, that I was in fact also receiving a transmission from my future self of the same thing, that, hey, yes, guess what? It gets better. Guess what? Everything did in fact work out for you. For the best. For the fucking awesomest of bests. The greatest version. The version that you never even dreamed of. It's better than you dreamed. It's better than you imagined. I can't explain that to you. I can't, because you're going to try to imagine it and it's going to be better than that. That's all I can tell you. This is beyond your imagination. It's better. It's better than anything you could dream up from this place where you are in the physical realm. Just know that. And I just want you to know that. And I'm receiving that transmission from the rest of myself, my future self. It could be called my higher self, because it is the self that is experiencing reality from outside this dimension, the rest of reality, which of course necessarily contains this dimension. That's what baffles me too, is that it's not baffling. That's the wrong word for it. But for anybody to think that heaven or higher reality or something is separate from this one, there's no separation. We're contained within it. It's all nested. It's all nested within this dimension, within the next dimension, within the next dimension. There's no separation. There's no way to do that. There is no way to do that. It's all inside the next level up. So it's all necessarily contained. And the highest reality is a reality that contains this one. And is calling us up into alignment with it by doing exactly this, by projecting the truth of it, the awareness of it, by our consciousness being there and looking around and saying, look, this is what I see. I'm not making this up. I'm not imagining this. This is what I see. This is my experience. And I am sending to the rest of myself that is in the past, or maybe just lower dimensionality. Maybe that's what past is, I don't know. I think that's feasible, considering the ascension of consciousness, and that the future of self is higher dimensional. In the future, we are ascended, right? And we're evolved beyond a third, fourth dimensional experience of consciousness. So I think it makes sense to say that the future self is our experience of fuller dimensionality of self, and that fuller self is remembering the experience of a smaller, more limited experience of dimensionality in self, and going, hey man, we did it. We broke free of that. We transcended those limitations. We moved past those boundaries. We did it. Everything that you wanted, and a big part of what you wanted was to ascend, was to transcend those dimensional restrictions, right? And that me is saying, yes, that happens. That happened. And I'm not making it up. I'm here living it. I'm living it. And so I'm beaming the feeling of it, what it feels like to live that experience. I'm beaming that to my past self, telling my past self, yes, this is it. And in this moment, I am experiencing that as a transmission from the future. I know this sounds insane. I know it sounds crazy. I don't care. It is what it is. It's the truth. This is the reality of multidimensional experience. It's what Abraham Hicks is talking about. It's what they mean when they say how good it is to have a friend upstream, and that your inner being, your higher self, the rest of yourself is upstream from you, is actually living what you think is your future as the present moment, and sending that knowledge to you with the awareness of its actual present moment existence. and you receive that as feeling, and trusting that feeling, it's really just trusting that feeling. I mean, that's the flow. There's not even anything you can do to change it. It's coming to you. Everything is coming to you. It's just the rest of yourself saying, here's what's coming. It's all fucking great. Everything that you want is coming to you. I'm just telling you because I want you to feel the peace of that. The same way you can look back at your past self and see how everything that your past self was worried about resolved, and you can look back in this moment and say to your past self, I want you to know everything is taken care of. I want you to know everything works out. It's okay. That's the same thing that the rest of you is doing for you right now. All the time. Continuously. All the time. And I just think it's pretty fucking cool to realize that. To be in on that process. To be consciously aware as it's happening that I am receiving a transmission from the rest of me in the future, quote unquote, saying, it's all good, man. It's so good. It's so good that we can't even possibly explain it to you. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it even if we told you how good it is. But we want you to be surprised anyway. We just want you to know it all works out. It all works out. There's nothing to worry about. You can calm down. You can relax about all of this. Because it's all taken care of and it's all happening and it all works. It all works. That's it. You don't need to know anything else. You don't need the details. You really don't. You don't. You don't even want to know them. You want to be surprised. And again, you probably wouldn't believe him even if we told you. So let that part go and just receive this knowledge that yes, it is all so good. It's good, it's good, it's good, and it's done. It's done, it's done, it's taken care of, it all happens, it's all working for you, it all works for you. I'm just here to tell you it all works for you. That's it. That's it. That's all this is. I'm just here to tell you it all works for you. And I can promise you that because I'm living it now. Your future is being lived now. That's fucking wild, man. What an amazing thing all of this is. And it only gets better. It only gets more amazing. Just wait. Just wait. It's going to knock your socks off. It's going to blow your mind, and it only will continue to do so. It just gets better. It just gets better. Just watch. Just fucking watch. I love you. It's all so good. Really, truly. Even when it hurts, even when it feels like it's not. That's okay. It doesn't change at all from working out the way that you want it to. The way that is for your highest good and highest joy. It's happening. Can't stop it. Might as well relax into it.